And I was thinking this morning, when I can picture the glory of God, besides when Moses was, his face was glowing, I think of a dark day, dark cloudy day, and when the sun shines and finds that one hole, and all this light comes through that one hole and it radiates everywhere. And that's what I think of God's glory. It just radiates everywhere and it's light. And I asked my son, what's God's glory to you? Oh, it's light, it's bright. And I said, and why do you think that? He goes, because that's the way it was in the Old Testament. So those are our terms, guilt, grace, and glory. Now, there's a couple we all feel guilty about certain things. And I've mentioned a few. And today, I want everybody to leave here feeling free. I don't know, I haven't talked to you, but I don't know what you're dealing with, and God does. But there's areas in all of our lives, and I've talked to you ladies, so I know what you're dealing with, and I know I know things about most of you, and some of you may still feel guilty about things that have happened in the past, things that are going on now. I know I feel guilty when I don't spend enough time with my son. I want to tell a very short story about how I felt guilty one time. It was April 19th, the day that the federal building was bombed. And I was driving to work. And I was driving Route 4 north, right before you hit the exit to go to East Greenwich. And it's the sun shining, and I'm looking the Route 4 southbound, I'm heading northbound. I see this huge red thing in the air, and I'm like, what is that? And all of a sudden, this thing plopped in front of me about 100 feet. And I put on my brakes, and I noticed it was a Jeep in the center median. And there was a body, I get out of the car, and there's a body there, and there's a body in front of me. I said, Lord, who do I go to? And he said, the body in the middle of the road. So I went over, and I had taken EMT. I was certified as an EMT. And I went to this person, and the first thing I did was get on my knees, lay my hands on this person, and pray for them. Lord, don't let them die. Please help them to know you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm praying with my eyes closed, and I'm just crying out to the Lord with tears in my eyes for this. I don't even know his name or anything. I've been trying to find out who he was. And I opened my eyes, and it's like a movie scene. All these people are looking at me. They're like 100 feet away because nobody dares to get close, And right next to me was somebody doing what needed to be done. It's called traction, where you hold the neck so they don't get, they don't get a spinal injury. And then the cops came and said, everybody needs to go. Well, I went to work, and I was devastated. And I called, and then we found out the federal building was bombed, and I was like, wow, what a day. And it was Dana's birthday. Do you guys know Dana Altman? I don't know if anybody knows her. She's a good friend of mine. And you know Dana, right? She's married to Andrew. But it was her birthday too, that's how I remember. And I call the police, and I said, I told them where I was and what happened. And I said, can you tell me what happened to the guy in the middle of the road? Oh, he's gonna make it. I said, what about the guy in the median? He didn't make it. And the guilt I felt, I should have prayed over him. Like my prayer is going to save him. But the Lord said, Cherrilynn, I had you go there for a reason. Don't feel guilty because that other person didn't survive. But now I think about this kid who fell asleep at the wheel and killed his best friend because he fell asleep. Imagine the guilt he must be feeling to this day. And I pray for him and pray for him and pray for him. I don't know if he knows the Lord. We've been involved with things that we are not proud of ourselves. When you really do a study on how scared and how stupid sheep really are, that's how God looks at us. And he wants to help us. He wants to help us. A shepherd does not tell a sheep when it falls into a pit, you stupid thing. He gently takes them out and cleans them up, and he takes his staff and gets all the bugs out of them. He puts salve on their noses so that, they can't even get the bugs from flying up their nose. The shepherd has to do that, like we wipe our kids' noses. But I know some things that I used to feel guilty about. And I still do this shopping. I don't have any money to shop, so, but shopping. My sister and I used to joke before we were saved. I would shop for clothes and she would shop for music. Can I mention that? She would shop for music. She has the best collection of music from the 80s and 90s. She really does, on cassette. But because that was filling a void.
That's right.
Now I love this because I had a problem with understanding guilt. And I love this saying, your guilt is not just a feeling or a personal problem. It really has to do with your relationship with God. How you deal with your guilt depends on how you view God and what place He has in your life. And the only way we can deal with our guilt is to go to God. We can deny that we're guilty. I've done that. We can compare ourselves to others. Well, you know, look at that pastor over there. Look at him. He goes to peekaboos, he drinks, he does all this stuff. I'm not mentioning any, I don't know any pastors who do that. There have been some in the past. So look at them. Or, some people, look at the Catholic Church, look at what their priests are doing. We can't compare ourselves. The only way we compare ourselves is to God. Make excuses. Well, look what has happened to me. I was abused by my father. I was abused by my father. He beat me. I have a right. That scares me when people say I have a right to be this way. We don't. As children of God, we don't have a right. We belong to Christ. Now, let me preface it with this. God wants to work out all that hurt and pain. So I'm not telling you not to feel what you're feeling. You need to go through that pain in the process of healing. But you don't have a right to stay there. Why would you want to stay there? I was just talking to them. An analogy God gave me with this guilt is, you're in jail. We are prisoners. We are prisoners before we're saved. We're prisoners. And we're in jail. And we're chained and the door is locked. Well, when God saves us, the chains are set free and the door is wide open and we sit there.